Okay, now talking about all these sites being down for 12 months, and I've vetted, as I say, I have 54 sites, and I get requests often to revet a site, and then every time so far that I've done that, it's been no, they are still down. I get it in writing, they're down, they're not operational, and they have certain services working, and a lot of them services not working, and they just haven't got their acts together. And so, as I say, I got a file transferred because you've got license transfers and you've got migrates. Transfer usually talks about when you're usually happens when you sell a file. For example, if let's say I'm at Thingiverse and let's just say Thingiverse was operational, which it's not. Let's say it was 2 years ago, right? And I sold the file, sold the license to somebody, and then they downloaded the STL file from me. They re-uploaded it into their username with all the details, the name and everything. Then I requested the date match from Thingiverse. Thingiverse corrected their date so that it matched the original true invention date. Then I was able to remove my original one because it had been sold, it had been paid for, the date of the new owner's one was correct, and so all was good, and we did that, and that worked fine. Hang on. That's right. Migrates and transfers. So transfer is about moving a license usually within a site where usually it happens when it's sold from one person and ends up in another person's username, and so that's been transferred to the new user and it ends up in their name with the correct date of invention. Migrate is usually talking about when you migrate from one website to another, and I'm giving examples at the moment, of course, of migrating from Thingiverse to Cult 3D, and that is super critical again to get that original date of invention corrected, and it only happens by requesting it. It doesn't happen automatically. The Cult 3D website does have automatic migrate, but it doesn't automatically correctly complete the task. It only gets correctly completed when you physically email them and request the date match of that thing. Then they'll go there, they'll look at it, they'll confirm that it's true, and all going well, they should correct the date. Now, they have done this for me, and so yes, I did prove that it does happen, and I have an email recently again from one of the owners there, Piri. Forgive me for mispronouncing people's names. I'm not very good at pronouncing stuff. Now he has given me an email again confirming that yes, upon request, they will complete the date of invention correction. Now my suggestion is only ask them to do one per week, because I did the first one, the little chocolate minnow, as a test, and then I migrated like 300 licenses in a single burst because I've got quite a lot of license stuff. As I say, I'm always inventing things. And they didn't get done. And I was kind of upset about it. And it's a lot. It's a lot to do to work through 300 licenses. And you can imagine if someone like me comes along and says, oh, to the whole world, we've only got one site on the planet with a working migrate, and it's Cult 3D. And then in the same breath, I sort of complain that they didn't particularly have the best service because of that. You know, I hit them with a whole bunch of stuff all at once, and it wasn't ideal. You know, and so my advice to everybody out there in the world is to transfer like one thing license a week. Keep it small, one at a time. Don't load them up because it's not going to help. You know, it's manual work, and it's not ideal for them because it's manual. You know, and these websites really need to be automated, and it is difficult to automate stuff like that because it is, you know, it's kind of critical, and so caution's required. They you know, they want to get it right as well, and so it's understandable that that's how things are. And it's like there's a lot of sites that claim migrate as well, but I've tested every site ever come across, all the ones recommended to me, revetted over many years, and there are none that work. And so, um, like, hang on. Okay, so be super cautious about migrating your things from one site to another. I always recommend when you invent something, you upload it to a whole bunch of sites. Pick out a whole bunch, put it at Thingiverse. Do it all on the same day as well, so all the dates of invention are all on the same day, and you have, like Thingiverse and Cult3D and CG Trader. They're great. The customer service there is so impressive. Like, I'm always complaining about customer service at different sites, and I like to test them and then retest them. And I've tested CG Trader extensively with different things, and sometimes I've sent them, and I hate to say this because I don't want other people doing what I do, because, I spend a lot of time in this industry, and so I am the one dude that will do stuff that no one's doing. And so when I'm vetting these sites, sometimes I'll go in and I'll send them a couple of ridiculous questions with a poor attitude, and it's all part of the test. And it's like, I want to see how they react to it. Are they professional? Do they respond? They give me the cold shoulder? Do they insult me? And sometimes they do. They just rip into you with a bunch of insults, or they just cold shoulder you, or they just don't answer because they either don't know what they're doing, or they don't want to admit it, or they don't want to put it in writing, or whatever. And as I say, I've tested CG Trader a bunch of times, and man, they are so amazing. And when I compare it to some of the other sites, like I've had some pretty grim service from Thingiverse, and yeah, and them being down, like, the overall company is Stratasys, MakerBot, Thingiverse, and I'm on them to resume their business services because 12 months down is pretty dire. And I've had clients that I've made stuff for on the deal that we were going to sell it because that's what we were doing, and that's the sort of the surface I was operating. And then now I couldn't operate for 12 months, and it's like the fact that I have bills to pay and people on my back doesn't seem to mean a damn thing to them. And it's like they don't seem to care particularly much, and I find that pretty grim across the board. And when you think the millions of people involved in the industry and the number of clients that they must have who are unable to sell the inventions that they've come up with or buy them. If you wanted to buy one to get ownership, and so you can set the royalty prices and say who can sell it from where and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, talk about disappointing. And I could cry on about that our accounts got hacked at Thingiverse, and our details apparently got leaked to the dark web, and how grim that is, and that they weren't forthcoming with info until some dude from the public outed them, and then they like fessed up and whatever. And it's like, man, I sort of feel like the attitude isn't quite very customer service orientated. I just can't figure out the sort of attitude of customer last, and to hell with the customer type of an attitude. Hang on a sec. I could sit here and complain about them all day because I've been with that company since Bree Pettis owned it, right back when MakerBot first started. And I've been there a long time, so I've got to experience all the different problems that have come up. Stuff going missing, no response, moderated stuff, and then seeing it made later in one of their ads, which, boy, I am still, look at my face, I'm not happy about that at all. Just stuff like that, and it's like, what the hell, man? Like, really? Hang on. Yeah, and when I had that, I was building up listings and putting bigger and bigger price. I started putting the price of the license on Thingiverse, you know, not just the price of the STL file that I might have been going to sell, or the whether I was selling the prints or whatever, but then I started putting the prices of the licenses themselves there, and then I sort of thought, oh, let's go for gold and go bigger and bigger and bigger, because why not? And then nobody really took much notice of me until I passed the $1 million mark, and then it was like, oh yeah, this, I'm obviously going uphill with this escalated nature. And so, then I started going for it and working around the clock, trying to come up with new stuff and look for new angles and where to from here. And then as soon as I got there, it's like, well, look to the horizon. It's like, well, where's this leading to? Where are we going to? What is this machine capable of? Like cook, clean, dry, and all these sort of unusual things that the printer is capable of that I've licensed. And then I sort of started thinking, let's just pull it all together and we'll put everything into one massive listing. And then I went all the way to $1 billion, and it was just like I had everything all in this one massive listing. And then I had two of these sort of pages there at their site listing these things, and on one I had a $100 million price tag, and on the other was $1 billion, because that was the newer updated version of where I was at. And yeah, they took down the $1 billion one and left the $100 million one up as the price, and it's like, yeah, as if I wouldn't notice, like, $900 million difference in my price. Yeah, I'm smiling and laughing, but really I'm not. I'm kind of still smiling, but I should put on a scowly face just to show how upset I actually was, because, man, I was not happy. I'm still not happy about it. Anyway, I'm still in the pursuit of the game, and early days. I was there before it started, and my job is to keep working for my clients, keep, wanting businesses, services resumed, so that we can all continue on, and let's make a whole lot of money and be successful. And success sounds nice. That's my big saying. I always say that. Always sign off with it. And yeah, let's make that happen. Make it so. Make it so. In the words of Mr. Picard. Okay, everyone out there, I think I need a drink of something, cup of tea, whatever. And good luck, everybody. And if I think of anything, I'll maybe make a vid about it, possibly. And bye for now, and be well from Will and Mr. Data. He's sitting in the other room over there, quietly at the moment. And yeah, see you later.